Again, Dynas are more difficult. For any other model, all you have to do is simply remove the gas tank to get to the wiring that needs to be placed inside the handlebars. But for Dyna models, what we'll need to do is loosen up and remove the hardware to hold the mounts the gas tank, push it back a little ways, and then you will want to adjust or disconnect your fuel lines just to get it back out of the way. What we need to do, or our purpose, is to get to the hole areas in the frame. If I pull this cap out or plug, there is a hole in the center which was zip tied to the wiring that goes up that backbone that we were talking about, which starts in the back of the bike. So we'll cut the zip tie that holds this in place from this side. Then, when the wiring is all loose in the back, we simply just start sliding all the wiring out from the frame, which is what I've done already, which is, you see this big plume of wiring. It goes on this exact same hole, but on the opposing side of the bike. Then from here, we can get to our two plugs for the left and right hand controls. So once those are exposed, you disengage them by squeezing the little cap, and they'll come out like this. These are called Deutsch connectors. They're plastic, and they encase all of our wiring for each of the handlebars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect these, then I'm going to loosen up the handlebars, and we'll start taking all of our switch housings apart. I have the left and right switch housings disconnected from the wiring harness. Now what I'm going to do is start disassembling the handlebar hardware, meaning all the switches and the clutch cable, the clutch perch off the handlebar. What I'm going to start with right now is the throttle cables. So what I'm going to do is take all the adjustment out of the throttle and idle cable, and I'll first do that by removing the boots that cover them. And I'll take 2 3/8 wrenches, break loose our lock nuts on the throttle and idle cable, and then fully collapse them or slacken them. Okay, with those fully slackened, I can go ahead and take off my throttle grip. And I'll do that by taking the bolts out that hold in this switch housing. There's going to be one at the top and one at the bottom. They are T25. With those removed, I can lift the cover, and that'll give us access to the ferrules, which hold the throttle cables in. And the ferrules is a fancy term, or a ferrule is a fancy term for this little brass cap. And that will allow the throttle and idle cable to be locked into the throttle. All right, with those two removed, I can take off our throttle grip, and our switch assembly will sit loose here until we take off our master cylinder. Now the master cylinder is relatively easy to take off. All I'm going to do is take my T27 and remove the two bolts on the handlebar that hold the clamp in place. Okay, with that removed, I'm going to go ahead and just gently put this aside, maybe wrap it, keep it away from the gas tank. and then we'll go to the left side of the handlebar.